Mexico for 2.5 years now. One of the questions I always get from my friends and family is how much does it actually cost to live here each month? Well, lucky for you, I keep track of all of my expenses. So today we're going to be talking about the cost of living in Mexico, including rent, medical and dental expenses, co-working spaces, and having fun. Let's find out. Can you really live in Mexico for less than $1,000 a month? Let's get started.
Hey travelers, my name is Juliana and that's my husband Martine. We've been traveling around the world for 4 years and fitting it into our lives any way possible, whether that be volunteering in hostels, working on cruise ships, taking short weekend adventures, or living as expats working remotely. Our goal is to show you how to have unique and memorable trips, no matter what your circumstances.
Before we jump into this video, I did want to mention that the cost of living in Mexico can vary drastically depending on where you live in Mexico and your quality of life. Luckily, I've had experiences living in both Puerto Vallarta, which is a very touristy area, as well as Cuernavaca, which is right smack dab in the middle of Mexico, just outside of Mexico City. So I'm going to be using both of those experiences to provide you guys a good range of what you can expect your costs to be when living in Mexico. Let's start with getting the big costs out of the way. We're going to talk about rent first. Rent where we currently live in Cuernavaca is about 8,000 pesos a month or $400 USD. This gets you a 1 to 2 bedroom apartment in a nice part of town. Ours actually includes electricity, water, internet, gas, and a weekly cleaning service. In Puerto Vallarta, we had two different experiences. We had two different apartments. Our first one I lived in was 12,000 pesos a month, which at that time was $600 USD. It also included everything except for electricity. At that apartment, our electricity bill ranged between $10 to $200 every 2 months, and that really depended on how much electricity we were using. In the summer months, you're going to run the AC a lot, and that's really what is going to drive your electricity bill up. So in order to save money, typically we would just keep the fans running if we could. So on average, our electricity bill was about $35 a month. In our other apartment that we lived in later, it was 15,000 pesos a month, which is about $750 US. That actually included everything, even electricity and a rooftop pool. It was in a super nice area of town and we absolutely loved it. You can definitely find cheaper rent in both Puerto Vallarta and the middle of Mexico, but you might be in a less popular area or not as many amenities would be included. Wi-Fi does seem to be normally included in most places, but in case it wasn't included and you needed to get your own modem, your monthly internet would likely be around 600 pesos or $30 a month. One other expense that I had was a co-working space. Lucky for me, my company actually covered this for me, and I did this in Puerto Vallarta. The co-working space I went to was called Vallarta Co-work. Literally the best place ever. It felt like home. I had my own private workspace, and having worked remotely for a year before that where I wasn't in an office, it was really nice to actually be surrounded by other people. It kept me definitely social and sane. The cost of that was $175 or 3,400 pesos. The next big category is groceries. We spend an average of $100 to $300 a month on groceries. It really just depends on how fancy we're getting with our meals. My favorite way of ordering groceries is actually through delivery, especially with the pandemic. We try to go outside as little as possible, and I actually learned I like delivery more with La Comer because you can choose everything on their app and you can remove things if you feel like it's getting too out of hand with your budget. I like the idea of being able to see the cost of everything right there and deciding what stays and what goes. Plus the cost of the delivery service I think was 80 pesos, which was just $4. And since we don't have a car, that was actually cheaper for us to do delivery groceries than to drive to the other side of town in order to get our groceries. Now $100 to $300 a month, I'd say that's pretty on average with what you would spend maybe in the US. I find that the cost of groceries here is pretty similar. You're really not gonna be saving a ton on groceries when you live in Mexico. However, you can definitely do it a lot cheaper if you shop in local markets to get your fruits, vegetables, and meat. But alas, I've got to have my good old processed food, so I keep going back to La Comer time and time again. Next up, eating out. We do like to treat ourselves to like 2 to 3 meals out per week. I typically like to go out for breakfast more than I do dinners, and per month we spent about $150 a month on that, or about 3,000 pesos. We do splurge a little bit if there's a special occasion, but really we do try to stick to eating at home as much as possible. Next up, activities. We spend about $200 a month or 4,000 pesos. This is gonna include everything from massages, day passes, beach trips, honestly a lot of the stuff you see here on our channel. Once again, if you have the money and time, you probably could spend a lot more money on activities, but I do work full time, so I don't really have that much time to go out and explore. Speaking of exploring, let's talk about transportation. I mentioned that we don't have a car, so we typically use Uber to get around everywhere or just walk. And each month we spend about $35 or 700 pesos a month on transportation. Another expense we had briefly when we lived in Puerto Vallarta was laundry. In our second apartment, we actually didn't have a laundry machine, so we would spend about $10 a month or 200 pesos a month to take our clothes to a lavanderia, which was just down the street. I loved this. I wish we did this more often in all the other places. Now we do have a laundry machine, but it's so nice to get your laundry nice and freshly folded. They do such a good job, and I kind of miss having that luxury. Another expense that I had was a chiropractor. I was able to have a chiropractor every single week for $25 a visit, so that was about $100 a month. I have scoliosis and a lot of back issues, so that was a really nice luxury to have. I don't have a chiropractor anymore now that I'm in Cuernavaca because my back's been doing a lot better. But man, back in Puerto Vallarta, when I would do those chiropractor visits every single week, that was a dream. And lastly, medical and dental. You may be surprised to find out that I don't have medical or dental insurance here in Mexico. And why is that? My company actually doesn't offer dental and medical insurance abroad. They instead pay me a stipend, which is fine, because I've actually found that if I was to have to pay out of pocket for any medical or dental expenses, it is way cheaper than having to sign up for insurance. Thank God we haven't had anything drastic come up, but at one point Martine did have a pretty gnarly root canal to deal with when we were living in Puerto Vallarta. We went to dental aesthetic and the cost of that was $556 US. What an insane deal for an entire root canal from start to finish. It was like 3 visits. I've also done dental cleanings here in Mexico for $35 USD, and the facility that I did my dental cleaning at was Dental Avant-Garde, which was insanely nice. It was nicer than any dentist office I've ever seen. I've also been to the doctor's office a couple times, and usually just for a visit, it is only like $50 at most, and the facilities are insanely nice. I've actually considered that in the future, when we do move back to the US, if I have any major procedures coming up, I'm just gonna come to Mexico to do it because they do a really good job.
All in all, here's what our total expenses look like each month without including my co-working space or medical expenses, and assuming water, gas, and Wi-Fi is included in your rent. In Puerto Vallarta, at our most expensive apartment, maxing out our groceries every month, we spent $1,580 a month. In Cuernavaca, where rent is less, and assuming we're spending mid-range on groceries and not paying for a chiropractor or electricity, we spend $985 a month.
So the answer is yes, you can live in Mexico for less than $1,000. However, I found that the times I'm pinching pennies here have made me miss out on some really cool activities and indulging in the amazing food. It's great to live in a place where the cost of living is so low, but one of the benefits is you should be able to enjoy and go out and do things and honestly help to support the economy here. So I'd say to be able to live comfortably here, $1,500 a month is a totally acceptable budget to have. I hope this video was helpful and gave you guys an insight on what the cost of living is like here in Mexico. Make sure you subscribe to help me reach my 100,000 subscriber goal. I love you guys so much. Stay tuned for lots more adventures around Mexico. So long, travel well, and make the world your neighborhood. See you guys next time. Bye!
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Did you know we have a Patreon? All our members get access to monthly income reports, exclusive podcasts, access to our private Facebook group, and even a copy of my ebook, Puerto Vallarta Like a Local. Business and first class patrons also get a postcard from us each month. Thanks so much for the support. Click the Patreon logo on the screen to join our family.